Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chtib Zhang Show, episode 41. Last week was our 40 milestone, but now it is 41. In this episode, we will be recapping, talking about, giving our thoughts about the Wilder Fury trilogy fight, and the NHL is going to be going underway next week, Wednesday, I believe, October 12th, I believe the date is. So this episode will be out by then, and we'll be giving you our predictions for the standings in each division within the NHL. But as always, before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by Hot Streak Fantasy, the best in-play fantasy app on the market. Pick 2 to 3 players in the MLB and NFL, and watch your favorite teams. Watch them make you some money. So Hot Streak is matching your initial deposit as a bonus when you use promo code Hot Sauce. Get Hot Streak Fantasy app now. Eric, every week we say it. MLB, NFL, quick, easy money, 180 seconds at max. You put a bet down, make some money. So if you're a big gambler on sports, it's the best in-play app available. So get it now, download, and start making some money. But as always, after that, before we get into the episode, Eric, roll it! Welcome back to the Chtib Zhang Show, episode 41. In today's episode, Eric, not talking UFC, going to be talking boxing. Wilder Fury trilogy fight happened Saturday night. And after that, we're going to NHL. NHL season, like we said, starting next week. So we got to give our predictions for the standings, who's going to make it, who isn't going to make it, etc. So let's get into it right away, Eric, with the trilogy fight. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. This was their trilogy fight, their third fight. First one was no decision, right? Split.
A draw.
Draw.
A majority draw.
No winner there. Second one, Fury came out on top. And now in the third one, much anticipated third fight, Fury wins with a knockout. In round what it was a late round.
11.
Yeah, 11 out of 12.
Yeah.
So, Eric, you on the way there, you were asking for it to be a good fight. You don't want a first round knockout. Well, you got an 11th round knockout instead. So, what did you think of that fight?
No, but exactly the fight. Hey, it was worth the money.
Yep.
Honestly, yeah. Well, we paid,
the money that we paid to stream.
Yeah, exactly. But it was definitely a really entertaining fight. Very happy with the results still. I did bet on Deontay just because his odds were like crazy low. Like I don't think it should have been like that. Like the difference of the odds should have been.
I think it was like 3 times more.
Exactly.
Than Fury if you won.
And like especially with a KO, because that was the only way Deontay was gonna win. And I was like, okay, like well, if it's gonna triple my money, like there's a good chance that Deontay could win by KO. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just put $25 on that. Obviously, it was actually pretty close to happening. So you actually had a good bet. We're probably gonna talk about that later. But this fight, what a good fight! Like coming into this, both fighters showed tremendous heart. They came into this. There was not a moment in the fight where there wasn't punch getting thrown. Like there was not a boring moment in this fight. Punches were getting thrown. Like
knockdowns were happening.
Knockdowns. There was momentum shifts like all the time. Obviously, Tyson Fury after the third, fourth round, he started like getting more confident, right?
Yep.
Like after he got knocked down twice, he came and then the remainder of the rounds he just won them all and he was outlanding. But Deontay Wilder, he stood up and he kept throwing. Like I don't know.
Well, yeah,
it was a good fight for both of them.
Let's look at it. Well, we know going into that fight, Wilder, he was 42-1-1 or something like that. Both of those, that loss and draw coming to Tyson Fury. And you can't say the guy isn't a good boxer because, he does have 42 wins and whatever the amount of knockouts it is, but there is like room for not concern, but definitely adjustment for Wilder. He's not the best striker in boxing, like fundamental striking and hitting precise shots. He's more of wailing that right hand that's so strong, and it's kind of like a Derek Lewis. Almost, I wouldn't compare the two.
Yeah, way better.
I wouldn't compare the two. Different sports in general, whatever as well.
Yeah,
but Wilder, everyone knows he has that right hand. He's knocked a lot of people out with it, and he's not the best boxer per se. So what Fury had to do, he did. He limited the distance between him and Wilder. Kind of like what we saw Gone and Derek Lewis. I'll keep bringing that fight up because it's kind of similar. He limited the space. A lot of the boxing was happening in the clinch where Fury dominated. Wilder got a lot of strikes off in the clinch, just kept him close, took all his weight basically. Fury, that 200 and whatever he is, 275 pounds, something like that. Just having that body lay on you the whole fight, 11 rounds, and having that big Gypsy King just lay on you, it's going to tire Wilder out, which it did. Because like you said, after the third, fourth round, Fury just kind of stuck to his game, landed good shots, and just that's how he kind of ended up winning. And like I said, limited the space between him and Wilder for him to. Well, look, Wilder got him a couple times, clipped him a couple times. First time in his career, he's dropped twice in the same round. So Wilder got him. I'd say he not lucky, but he clipped him twice. And yeah, that's why it was knockdown power. But after that, I mean, like, Fury already had the knockdown. He was winning every round. He had way more punches landed, and that's, I think, a big thing of it was the striking game in the clinch. And then he knocked him out in the 11th round. So
exactly,
Fury, cashing in the paycheck, $55 million, I think it was. Wilder getting knocked down in the 11th gets him $45 million there. Exactly. So everyone's happy in the end in boxing. I mean, Fury and Wilder are, like you said, they might take 2 years off until the next time they fight. We have no clue who's it going to be, but those two won't be fighting each other for a while because there's no.
I don't think they're ever. I don't think they're ever going to fight each other because arguably people say that Fury won the first fight, even though he got knocked down, but he did win the fight. Like most, like I think like 80% of people do believe that Fury won the first fight. So people could tell, like, if there's another fight, like Fury's it's gonna be a war, but like most likely Fury's gonna win again. And like if you beat someone 3 times, like at the end of the day, like you're probably better than that person. You know, it's like, so there's no point of, it's gonna be hard to sell it another time. The third fight, like this was very needed just to see if like the difference in level. Obviously, people could see like Wilder's on like right now he's probably the second best heavyweight, but Fury's still on top, like just a bit, like not a bit, but like he is like a good amount better than Wilder. But
Fury, and what you said, who's the second best? Wilder's the second.
I still believe Wilder is second best, even though like you gotta think, look, before he ever fought Tyson Fury, this man was 42-0, 42-0 with 41 knockouts. Anyone he fought, he beat. And then after Wilder, now his record's a little tainted, 42-2-1, right? But hey, it's Tyson Fury. Like Tyson Fury is gonna go down as one of the greatest heavyweights. So there's nothing to beat. Like I know Deontay at the end of the fight, he didn't want to shake Tyson's hand. He didn't want to show respect, but whatever. But still, like Deontay, his striking's a little off. Like he only came in at 235 pounds. 235 like that. That's not heavy for a heavyweight. Tyson's there at 277, and but it is better because Deontay, the first fight, he came out at like 215, so 235 is better, something like that. So, but still, I don't know, man. Like Tyson's just he's just on another level. Like it's shown. Like
I mean, you wouldn't imagine that guy being the heavyweight champion. That shape, that
physique,
that peak male body. Some photos, the memes now going on Instagram and stuff like that, where we see Fury in his worst days. Oh no, it's funny. But yeah, that guy, the Gypsy King.
But he's gonna make a great movie. Yeah,
movie.
He's gonna make a great. This guy's story is incredible. Like when he was just born, I saw something Tyson Fury talked about it. He was born. He was like a couple pounds. Like apparently he wasn't supposed to be alive. Like he came out like super tiny, and like they told his father that like he wasn't gonna grow to be any big. Man grew to be 6'9", and also like he's also a gypsy. They call him Gypsy King because his ancestors, both of them were kings, and then they're like this kid, like whatever. And then also the story of like he had depression for like 2 years. He didn't fight, and like he was up to like 350 pounds, like super heavy, like suicidal thoughts, like all that stuff. And then after he saw Deontay Wilder call him out, he saw Deontay Wilder KO all these people, and there's a video of Tyson being like, "Oh, I saw Wilder do this. I'm coming back to fight. Thanks for motivating me." So the Tyson Fury came back just to fight Wilder. Got that tie. He arguably won, and then beat him twice after in like amazing fashion, right? So, but both of these fighters showed so much heart. Like, you just gotta give respect to both of them for sure.
Yeah, who would you have playing Fury if he had an actual movie? Wouldn't be playing himself.
No, but no, like I'm maybe not
No,
movie,
but
like a documentary.
No, but like you said it. So like now
No, like
you
a
have
documentary, like a
to-
documentary about his life. It doesn't have to be like whatever. You can get
like a
it's gonna
documentary.
be yeah, it's gonna be tough to get a 6'9" actor to play him, you know. But he is his it's like his story is like literally more insane than Rocky Balboa. Like his weight, like you know what I mean? Like you could see people watch Rocky Balboa, they think it's cool and stuff.
You just
Tyson
compare
Fury's
Rocky
story.
Balboa, a fictional boxer, to
I know.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but
And
imagine
you're gonna argue that his story is better than Rocky Balboa.
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like they had to make up a story about this fighter and make up this crazy story around this fighter to make a good movie. And then you have Tyson Fury here, whose life is even crazier than that fictional movie, you know?
Yeah, well, you also had only 2 hours to, make a story and then, film a movie, whereas Tyson Fury has years of storytelling. Like, what would you think Tyson Fury's life or story would be in 2 hours?
Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like,
It's just because Rocky Balboa wasn't obese and hooked on drugs that it's not.
no,
a good
but
story.
just like, so it starts off
I
already
get
when he's born, he already has like all the odds against him, right? But he is a gypsy king, right? He has that behind him, and then he grows up, starts winning, and then beating everybody, and then hits like a wall, and then comes back, and then gets knocked down against Deontay Wilder, gets knocked down, and then at the 9th second
God,
wakes up.
That face you made right there, it's like you almost saw the scene happen in your head, like how you visualize it.
Exactly.
Camera would be from up.
Yeah, camera from up there
like,
with lights pointing in his eyes. His eyes are like, oh,
yeah. And
like
then they just
Undertaker.
open up. Yeah, like the Undertaker, literally. And he just said so. Well,
but I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next, because the heavyweight division, it's one of the best divisions in boxing right now.
There's like 15 belts to claim.
No, but exactly. But like right now, the big belts, it's obviously Tyson Fury won the belt off Deontay before.
Yeah.
But the guy that beat Joshua, Usyk, has like a couple belts. If they have that fight, Tyson wins. He has like almost all the important belts in heavyweight. So it's literally like, I don't know. I feel like Deontay, what you should do next is, like, people would probably want to see Deontay versus, because Deontay, he is the second best. Like, I don't think there's anyone near him.
Yeah, and Anthony Joshua was kind of slipping, man, with that.
Anthony Joshua is slipping, but now because Usyk won, he's up there. So some people do actually believe that Usyk can beat Fury, but in my opinion, never gonna there's no way that's gonna happen. Usyk, he used to fight at cruiserweight, which is like around 190, whatever. Tyson Fury is 277, and he moves like he's like 180, like you know what I mean. So, and I don't know, man. Like Tyson, he's just on another. Like, I'm so happy that we're living in this era where we can see him live. You know, like we're living in the Tyson Fury.
Yeah, not too
era.
shabby. Can't complain living in today's sports era.
Yeah,
football, hockey.
There's a lot
UFC, a lot of great athletes going at some of the best we've ever seen. The sport has ever seen. But boxing's not like UFC. We're gonna have to wait. Usually boxers fight more than UFC fighters do.
Yeah.
But for this, the kind of hype that surrounded it, the payout to Fury and Wilder might, be keen on taking some time off for themselves.
Exactly.
It's probably what they're gonna do anyway. So who knows when the next time? We don't really talk boxing because we're not big boxing connoisseurs. So that was just a big fight that everyone was talking about, so we talked about it. But we'll see. But moving on, Eric, start of the NHL season will be going underway next week. I believe October 12th is the start date. So we have to talk about it beforehand. We have to give our predictions for the standings. This year's standings, what teams are going to make it, what teams are going to fall into the wild card spot, what teams aren't going to make the playoffs at all, based off, the team's off seasons, how they did, who they add and stuff like that. So let's jump into the West Coast there, because I want to leave the East Coast last, because that's mostly the teams that we follow, or I follow, you follow too, in the Atlantic. So let's go real West, maybe the worst division in hockey. There's some points to be made why it's the worst division, easiest division, but the Pacific division, the West Coast, very West Coast. You got the Vegas Golden Knights in that division, Oilers, Canucks, Flames, Sharks, the Kings, Kraken, the newly added Seattle Kraken would be playing in the Pacific division, and the Ducks. Ducks. So let's start this off. I'm gonna go first with my Pacific division standings. It is a weak division, so the top three, there is a consensus number one in Vegas, being number one. After that, Eric, it's kind of up in the air with these Canadian teams, in my opinion. You got Vegas. I got the Oilers going second. They added Zach Hyman, so that's going to be another line mate for Connor McDavid to play with. And then Oilers, and you got Canucks, Flames, who you could put in those spots. Canucks people, the Canucks nations are hoping that their team's going to have a turnaround season. Pettersson's coming back healthy. They added Connor Garland. They lost Naismith defense. Demko looks to be the star. So, Canucks could be in that top three, Eric. Depends with the Flames, how they play and stuff. If they have a bounce back season too, because they didn't make the playoffs like the Canucks in the North Division last year. So, I put Canucks third, Flames fourth. Daryl Sutter with the trap. Hopefully, that's where I expect them to be. Then Sharks are fifth, just because I like the goaltending duo of the Sharks. It's better than what they had last year. So, and they still have some young forwards. Thomas Hertl, Logan Couture still at center. Anyway, I have the Sharks fifth. Los Angeles sixth, still a very young team, learning curves, whatever. They added Philippe Danault, as we know. So Kopitar is going to take that offensive step that he wouldn't have been able to take, but they're still not a playoff team. Then Kraken seventh, I gave them the benefit of the doubt and put the Ducks last. Kraken, all these players trying to prove something. So I put them a little spot ahead. I don't think they were built to win right away like Vegas built their team. Kraken, very good at defense. Goalie, very good. Forward group is non-existent. Jared McCann is their first line center. So good for Jared McCann, not good for Seattle.
Exactly.
But first year team rebuild it. So that's who I have in the Pacific. Here's probably the similar.
Actually, very similar. So Vegas, obviously number one. I don't really have to explain that. Number two, I also have the Oilers. I just love their. I don't love their team, but I'm trying to appreciate their team a bit more. I do believe Mike Smith. I know he's like 39, but I think he's going to be.
Oh, he's like 40 something, I think.
But he's if he's he's still a decent goalie, right? He can.
He had good numbers last year,
and he's going to be better than Koskinen, and even them two as goalies. Is he going to be decent? I don't know. They still have Tyson.
There is room for concern, I would say, though. If Mike Smith doesn't play like he did last year, and Koskinen is still the same goal he's always been, fucking Oilers could be in some serious trouble.
Exactly. But I like Tyson Barrie. Obviously, Darnell Nurse got paid, so their decor is not the best, but it's decent. And then obviously at forward, we know Connor McGregor, Leon Draisaitl. It's literally just for Edmonton to be second. You can't have any injuries to any of your Leon or
I would say
Connor
Mike Smith, Connor, Leon have to stay healthy.
Exactly. For the entire season. But obviously that's tough, right? It's tough to have just two elite forwards and then rely on your goalie
supporting group,
a 39-year, 40-year-old goalie, right? And then after at third, I don't know if you had Canucks. I have Canucks. They do have Oliver Ekman-Larsson too, who's actually a really good defenseman. Obviously, his contract's pretty big, but he is a very good defenseman. Connor Garland, I believe he's going to get 65, 70 points this season. He's going to be really good. Obviously, they still have players like JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser. So, overall, and their goalie tandem also of Demko and Holtby.
No, Holtby. I forget who their backup is in Vancouver. It's
wait,
Demko. Hope he left. He signed with the Stars, but
he only had a 1-year contract.
Yeah, something like, or no, he got traded or something, or
okay.
But he's with the Stars anyway.
Okay, but just having Demko, and then obviously, oh no, they have DiPietro too, right? But he is very
starting. Oh, Halak. Sorry, Halak is their backup. Yeah.
Oh, they got Halak.
Okay. They got Halak.
Okay, but still, like just having Demko, who's actually a pretty young and very reliable goalie,
up and coming.
Exactly. 2 years ago in the playoffs, he played pretty well for them too. So, hey, they Canucks. I like their team better than I do Calgary's. Calgary at fourth, still Jacob. Is it Jacob Markstrom?
Jacob Markstrom.
He's gonna be really good. Obviously, the fourth. Sean Monahan's. He hasn't been playing like that well recently.
No, he had 80 something points that one season. Has never been able to.
And he's just been going down. Yeah. Johnny Gaudreau has been your consistent like point per game, whatever. A lot. Elias Lindholm been good, but it's just the players on the team. Obviously, there's issues with the coach too. I don't know if I don't know. Some of the players don't seem to be liking the coach, whatever. But I have them at fourth. Chtib, yeah, yep. You good? Okay. I thought you liked.
Yeah. You saw my face, a frozen face.
Yeah, I thought you were frozen. Okay.
No.
Okay. And then at fifth, I have the Sharks. Like you, I don't. The Sharks. I believe I don't think they're making the playoff, but they could sneak into the playoffs.
Well, let's be honest. These are the bottom dwellers, so like, there's nothing really to say about them. That good, but like not. They're better than the other shit.
But teams. I do think that Kraken are actually probably going to be like six. I think they can be just because of their goalie tandem and their defense tandem. Obviously, Mark Giannino just got named captain too.
Yeah,
their forwards absolutely suck. So what? And Ducks obviously is still rebuilding. Yeah. They have John Gibson, but not doing much. LA is still a young team. So that's all.
Do you want to start off the Central since I started off the Pacific?
Central,
Avalanche,
start off the Central.
Jets, Blues, Wild, Chicago, Coyotes, Stars, Predators.
Okay, so the Central, obviously, number one team is not too complicated. The Avalanche, right? Yeah. Obviously, they have Darcy Kemper, who I think is even better than Philip Grubauer and Varlamov and any. So, because Darcy Kemper has always been underrated at Arizona, so their team is disgusting still. At second and third, for me is interchangeable. I have Blues and Stars. I think they're kind of in a similar boat, Blues and Stars. Obviously, past years they've been doing really good. Obviously, we know St. Louis won a couple years ago, but I probably have Stars a bit of ahead just because I feel like the Stars. I don't know, like in the
playoffs that they didn't make last year.
Who?
Stars.
No, but look at the Stars 2 years ago. They almost made it to the finals. Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, I like this Stars team. So I have the Stars, and then I have the Blues. Blues, obviously, they have their core from when they won the cup, and they have core. Yeah, exactly. So, nothing bad about the Blues. Number 4, I'll throw in the Jets in there. I still believe the Jets aren't. They're not. Like every year they could make it far, but they always lose in the second round, whatever. Yeah. But they haven't been good. They've always disappointed their fans, you know. So and then the Jets, because Jets fans are crazy. Like they do believe that they're like Cowboys.
Yeah, but it's like one of those. It's like I wouldn't say it's the same market as Calgary.
No.
I'd say it's like one of those.
No, I was gonna say Cowboys. I was gonna say Cowboys.
Okay. Not even. I would say Manitoba is like one of those markets where it's like, we still love the Jets.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Oh, they didn't make it. Like we'll still love them. It's just like. It's not like Montreal.
But their team is good though. Like they have a really good team. Like they have a top 9 that's solid and like literally like probably definitely a top 10, top 9 in the league. Probably top 7 but they have a top 9 that's very solid. 2-way players everywhere. Their decor is getting better. Obviously, I feel like you're probably gonna talk about that a bit later. I'll let you talk about that. After that, I think Blackhawks are going to be there at 6 or 5. No, Blackhawks at 5.
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury. Blackhawks might sneak in the playoffs just because they got Seth Jones, obviously, and Marc-Andre Fleury. So, and obviously having Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, and all those players and Alex DeBrincat, it helps out too. Wild is going to be a tough one because I'm putting them at 6 over here, but I do believe last year they made the playoffs. Why can't they? And they almost beat Vegas in the first round. So, and obviously Kaprizov is going to be even better than last year. They still have like Cam Talbot. Like they're going to be a really solid team, right? Because their decor is really strong as usual. So, I have them, and then it's kind of tough to put Arizona and Predators so low, but
not that
they're both well because they're like Predators.
Arizona is kind of a
Arizona's
rebuilding team.
They're rebuilding, but Predators like they're a good team.
Yeah,
and they've been making the playoffs, so it's gonna be. But I think they're gonna be 7 or 8. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a tough division for sure. It's a tough division to rank.
And I'll give my thoughts on the division. Like you said, number one, is the Avalanche. Like you said, Colorado. They lost Grubauer to Kraken. They signed Darcy Kuemper, who I can agree with you, is arguably better than Philip Grubauer. Though there is some worry for Darcy Kuemper is his health status. He's a goalie that gets injured a lot.
Yeah,
and if he were to go down, Colorado could be in trouble. Is it Pavel Francouz would take over? Anyone could kind of be the goaltender in Colorado. We're gonna see with Philip Grubauer his numbers. You're gonna see his numbers in Colorado are going to dip real low when he starts playing with Seattle. So that will kind of prove my point. But Avalanche, they just got to have their superstars play on their game and they'll be fine. Second, a little different than you. I went Winnipeg here. Second. I think, I think Winnipeg, like you said, top 9, one of the best in the leagues. Connor Hellebuyck, one of the best in the leagues. Their defense, they actually have a reliable decor, I would say now. They actually have 3 lines that they actually can throw out there at any point. Josh Morrissey, Brendan Dillon, who played top 4 minutes in Washington, very good defenseman. Then you got Neil Pionk and who they just signed, Nate Schmidt. And then Dylan DeMello, who was playing like 20 minutes game for Winnipeg last year, is now on their third pairing with Nathan Beaulieu or whatever. But still, they did a good job getting their decor strong, and with that forward group, they're going to be a tough team in that division. I think they can bully a lot of teams, because you play your divisional opponents 4 times. So I think they can bully a lot. So I'm going to put them second. Third, Eric, I got the St. Louis Blues. I feel like they're going to have a bounce back year. They added some depth from the Avalanche. As actually Brandon Saad signed with the Blues. Colorado lost that depth piece, like Jonas Donskoy too. So Blues, Jordan Binnington, every year it seems like his numbers keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But I still like their forward group. Tarasenko is going to be playing. I don't know if he's getting traded or not, but they're going to try and showcase him. So he's going to get a lot of playing time. And I just like that top 6. Their decor is not the worst. It's still big. It's still physical. So
they also got Bushnevich too, I think, who's actually
for Sammy
really
Blaine, who's going to be a really good player for them. So I like the Blues. I put him third. And then fourth, this is where it kind of gets tough. 4, 5, 6, kind of weird. I put the Wild there fourth, but what scares me about the Wild is Cam Talbot, because Cam Talbot had a good season last year, but that was a condensed season. I don't know if those numbers are going to if he can keep those numbers and how he was playing for a full 82 game season. I don't think so. I think he's going to struggle. I think Kakkonen might have a lot more starts than people expect him to have. So that's where it's like it could be tough for me. Is the goaltending tandem in Minnesota? Everyone expects it to be good, but I think Cam Talbot could struggle in an 82 game season because he has before. He's had that good season in Edmonton, but ever since then he's kind of been shipped around, and now he's found a home here in Minnesota. But we'll see. Fifth, I got the Predators there. This 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not good teams, Eric. Not good teams. So. Take it with a grain of salt to have the Predators fifth. Do I think the Predators are a good team? Not really. Honestly, I believe the Predators would start to rebuild if they didn't have Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene locked up for such a long time, because those are huge salary cap eaters that prevents the Predators from rebuilding. So every year they got to kind of keep going for it, but they're kind of they're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think. So I'm going to have them fifth, then sixth, Chicago. Jonathan Toews will be back healthy. Marc-Andre Fleury. This could be a team where I could see, either sixth, fifth, or fourth, Chicago. Because with Kane, Toews, Seth Jones now, their decor is still a bit weak, even with Seth Jones. But like you said, Marc-Andre Fleury makes that team better than it was last year. So I put them sixth. And then seventh, I have the Stars. Stars that make the playoffs last year. So And this team is kind of like, Jamie Benn is regressing.
Don't forget, Sengen is back.
Sagan is back. They have, Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz. It's their goalies that kind of scare me too. Braden Holtby's not the same Braden Holtby. Ben Bishop hasn't played in a year and something. And then Khudobin. So, do I think the Stars make the playoffs in this division? No. I think no.
Okay.
I think they're going to really suck. I don't think they're going to be that good of a team. But there is room. Like last year, they with the COVID and their season got delayed. You can make reasons why they didn't make the playoffs, but still, at the end of the day, I think they have a lot of question marks and holes to fill. But and then last I have Coyotes. They're rebuilding. They traded all their good players for picks and stuff, so they're not going to be a good team. That is the West, Eric. Our predictions for the West. Let's head over to the East now. Atlantic and Metro. I'm going to start. I'm going to leave you Atlantic because that's a tough assignment. I'm going to start in the Metro.
Okay.
The Metropolitan. A lot of good teams, Eric. This is could be one of the toughest divisions in hockey.
Yeah.
If it's not this, it's the Atlantic. But I think a lot of these teams are going to be fighting for a wild card spot. So, to go through my top three who make the playoffs, I have the Islanders winning this division. I think that Barry Trotz, what he's doing in New York is incredible. His defensive system. They don't score a lot, but they're not going to need to score a lot. They have two reliable goaltenders, Sorokin and Varlamov, so they'll be fine there. Decor is amazing, and their forward group, Matt Barzal, they're going to be good enough to score goals and close games out, which is going to be big in this division. So I had them first. Second, Washington. Washington. They're division champs. They won it they're on a streak now, I think, right? Ever since 2016, I think, or 2017, they've won the Metro division. I could be wrong. They won it last year. I'm pretty sure they won it last year, right?
I'll check.
Or no, the Metro wasn't last year. Sorry. It wasn't the Metro team line. It basically was the Metro division, but missed some teams. So Washington, Alex Ovechkin, TJ Oshie, Kuznetsov will be back. Still a good centerman. So, John Carlson, that team is filled with offensive options. Only thing I'd say about Washington is where I'm worried is the goalies, Samsonov, Vanacek, young goalies, little experience, but I trust that team to get it done. Third, people might disagree with me, but I have the Flyers. The Philadelphia Flyers are going to bounce back in my belief. It's always off year with the Flyers. When they made the playoffs, they're really good. Then they missed the playoffs, and now it's their time to make the playoffs again.
Yeah.
Carter Hart, terrible season last year. I think he could have a bounce back season. So, and then they added Ryan Ellis. Ristolainen's a bit of a question mark move because they're going to expect him to play big minutes, and he's not really. He's a big minus machine in Columbus. We'll see how he's a big body, and they want to make their decor bigger and stronger, so it makes sense. But we'll have to see. But I think the Flyers could win it. Fourth, this division is so tough, Eric. So tough.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Eric. This fourth spot is either the Penguins or the Rangers for me.
Okay.
Penguins or the Rangers. Penguins, they're going to miss Crosby and Malkin here in the beginning of the season, but that team always figures it out. It out somehow. Even when Crosby's out, team players step up. Jake Gensel steps up. Brian Russ steps up, They're just vets that know how to get it done. So Penguins, I will see them in the playoffs. I would expect so, even with Malkin out for like a month or what is it. So this is where, I expect them to make the playoffs, either if it's a wild card team or top three. That's why I had Penguins fourth and Rangers fifth, but they're in. They could change them fourth and fifth because the Rangers are a team expected to make the playoffs. Not expected to make the playoffs, but they expect to make the playoffs. As a Zibanejad, they just re-signed. Panarin's expected to get 100 points. Shesterkin's looking to develop within another year to that elite goaltender status. So their decor, Jacob True. I'm trying to look at their decor now. Not the best decor. Metropolitan. I'm looking at my Ranger notes. Yeah, they added Barclay Goodrow, Ryan Reeves, Sammy Blais, Patrick Nemeth, Jared Tenorti, and lost Pavel Buchnevich. I'm trying to remember their decoys. Adam Fox, Jacob Trouba.
They lost Tony DeAngelo.
But it's tough. It's gonna be an offensive team. The Rangers. We don't know about their decor yet, and then. So that's why I kind of got them fourth and fifth because they're going to be a good top six, of course, as we know. But yeah, I have them fourth or fifth. Then six, Eric, for me is the Hurricanes. They had a lackluster offseason. They decided to take KK for $6 million. Yet they couldn't give money for Dougie Hamilton. Their goaltending duo got worse. They lost Nedeljkovic, James Reimer, Peter Mrazek for Frederick Anderson and Antti Ranta, I think it was. So yeah, a lot of question marks. They got worse. Their decor, losing Dougie Hamilton was big. So, Dougie Hamilton's one of the best. How do I say? Forward, like he's one of the best defensemen when it comes into the forward rush. Rushing the play and stuff and carrying the puck. He's one of the best defensemen to do that, and he's a power play machine. So that's gonna hurt him. For the Rangers, Jacob Trua, Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren is there. Condre Miller might get a spot here starting to start. Patrick Nemeth they added. So yeah, like I'm saying, their decor has a lot of question mark. The Rangers. That's why I have them there in that situation, fourth or fifth. But I think they'll be better than the Hurricanes. Hurricanes are still a good team, though. That's why the Metro is tough, Eric, because a lot of these teams, if you don't make the top three, you have to fight for the wild card spot. So a lot of good teams in the Metro aren't going to make the playoffs this year. So Hurricanes 6th, 7th are Devils. They're good, not a good team, not a horrible team. They added Thomas Tatar, Dougie Hamilton, Jonathan Bernier, Ryan Graves I like, and then they lost Will Butcher and Aaron Dell. But yeah, they're not better than these other Metro teams, in my opinion. So Devils 7th, Blue Jackets 8th. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're rebuilding. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're rebuilding. They're claiming that, but they're not good enough to compete with the other teams.
Well, that's an interesting rank. I feel like
it's tough.
It's a tough one.
Looking at the Metro,
I know.
And tell me who's missing the playoffs.
I know. It is tough, but. I was looking at Capitals since 2015. Like I can't even go more back than
they've been division champs.
Yeah, they've been division champs.
So I think
that's why
to take it.
Exactly. The only thing with Islanders, so I'm going to start off my list here. I'm going to go Capitals first. The only reason I'm not putting Islanders is because Islanders every year they've made the playoffs. They haven't been they've been I think last year they're like fourth. They're obviously we know in the playoffs are an amazing team, right? Because Barry Trotz can just sit down, analyze the other team exactly head to head. And in the regular season, there's 82 games to play. You can't do all that and they're a defensive team, right? So you don't know it's just I just don't have them at number one, but I understand why you have them at number one. It is very fair. Over the last few years, they've been amazing, right? Especially in the playoffs. So number one, I have Capitals. I just think their team is basically the exact same as before. They still have Mantha from last year after the trade. And they're Washington, they've just been consistently good, right? Their team's always been good. I feel like after they won the Cup too, they still been good. And obviously they have less pressure than they did before, right? To win. So I feel like the team can just play freely. Mm-hmm. They still have Samsonov, who's an elite goaltender. I know last year he was injured a bit, but Samsonov is a very, very good goaltender. So that's why I have them number one. Number two, this one's tough. I'm gonna go Islanders. I think is 1 and 2, right? Islanders. Obviously their goaltending tandem is amazing with Varlamov and Sorokin. Sorokin, who's a very underrated goalie too,
coming out of the KHL.
Exactly, and both of them they played last year in the playoffs. They played amazing. That duo was really good together. Their D, they don't even have offense. They lost Nick Leddy, but their defensemen, they don't really have offensive players that defensemen that stand out, right? But it's just solid defensemen.
I'd say
get the job.
Ryan Pollock or who's the other one?
Who's the one that got signed for $6 million?
Yeah. I'm gonna get it right now.
It's just they have reliable defensemen that get the job done and that fit exactly into Barry Trotz's system, Mm-hmm. So that's why in the playoffs they're so good because they're so hard to score on, and even now offensively they've added more pieces, right? They got Cal Palmieri, they still have Matt Barzal. Offensively they're still a good team, and they'll get goals from time to time. They lost Jordan Eberle.
Oh, Adam Pelech. Yeah, that's it.
Adam Pelech, exactly. He's a really good defenseman. So
Dano Chara's there. Noah Dobson, their young defenseman. Scott Mayfield's a good defenseman. Andy Green is still a good vet in this league.
Exactly. So they're going to be a really good team. Offense, like Jordan Eberle, I'm not gonna lie, is a tough loss because he was always like one of their top point scorers, but they'll be fine without him. Because his team's still really good, especially in the playoffs. In the playoffs, I do like they're almost never a first. Like they've beaten Penguins consistently, like year after year in the playoffs too. So, that's where I have them. Number 3, I'm not gonna lie, you will not like this one. I feel like you rank this team maybe not
too low. Like I know exactly what you're gonna put.
I know you don't like this team, obviously, but you might be a bit like I don't know. I'm gonna try and look
biased. All right, so you got the Hurricanes number 3.
Yes, I have the Hurricanes number 3. I know they lost Dougie Hamilton, right? Who's one of the best defensemen.
Not only lost Dougie Hamilton.
I know, but when you talk about the goalie tandem, obviously they lost Alex Nedeljkovic, Peter Mrazek, right, James Reimer, but don't forget Frederik Andersen. Before last year, like he got he obviously even like was he? I think he was injured or
he didn't
whatever.
Yeah,
he didn't play. But Frederik Andersen, like this guy is a goalie that can play like 50, 60 games a season, like win most of them, and he's a very good goaltender. Like obviously last year Jack Campbell took over, but Frederik Andersen is a very good goaltender. Antti Ranta in Arizona was a very good backup. I don't think it's that much of a different. Alex Nedeljkovic, obviously he was younger. He looked more promising, but having Frederik Andersen isn't the worst. Like it's not like he's a terrible defender. Obviously losing Dougie Hamilton is huge. But they still have like Jacob Slavin, who's a number 1, like a really good underrated. Like their team is still good. Like by no means it's terrible offensively. Like KK, I don't think he's gonna add anything to the team, but it's just like. It's not like obviously they lose Dougie Hamilton, but like I can't. There's no way I can't put Rangers ahead of Carolina just on the fact that like last time they played, I think was it last year when they just Carolina just absolutely dominated the Rangers. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Rangers are at Carolina's level yet. So and Carolina overall they're like they just have a young very young good team. So that's why I have them at 3rd. Number 4, I'm gonna put Penguins. I just think this is a team that consistently makes the playoffs. I'm curious what Tristan Jarry can do, just because he hasn't really performed lately. Like, because when they picked Jarry over Murray, people were like, "Oh wow!" So this guy's got like last year he was okay, but he wasn't like as elite as people would have thought.
Well, it's because he was outperforming Murray that one season.
Exactly. Yeah, that one season. So that's why they traded away Murray because they didn't want to get him snagged in the expansion draft, right? So obviously, but I don't know. I just think this is a team that will make the playoffs. They'll find a way to make the playoffs. They'll be there at number 4. And then at 5th, it's tough, but I have to leave the Rangers out of this. I know their team did get better, but they didn't do that many. No, like it's the same team. Like it's just the same team. I do like Shesterkin a lot, but it's just I don't know. They lost Buchnevich, but I just don't know like what the upside of his team. Like you have Panarin, Zibanejad, great scores, but I don't see the upside. I'm excited to see what Alex Lafreniere can do. With Capocalco.
Yeah,
maybe if they take a step up, this team will definitely be a playoff team for sure. Just to me, it's Leah Lafreniere and Capocalco.
Really? If they step up, they're
they step up. If they're like, if they can go 60, 70 points each, like they can be that type of player.
Like wild card spot or top 3?
No, they'd probably be top 4, like at least at 4.
And then
something like that.
Hurricanes get pushed down the list.
No, don't worry about it. It's not my Hurricanes. It's just the Hurricanes, The
Hurricanes.
But yeah, and then I'm gonna go a little faster. But I have Flyers next. I think Carter Hart's gonna take.
Where are we right now? 6.
Yeah, 6. So I have Flyers at 6. I think Flyers can make the playoffs just because they got so much like defensively, right? They already have Ivan Provorov, but now they have Ryan Ellis and Ristolainen, who are great defensemen. Ristolainen, obviously, I'm excited to see what he can do when he's not with Buffalo Sabres. Carter Hart's going to take a step up for sure. And at 4,
6 means your team doesn't make the playoffs.
No, I know.
You have a losing record.
I know, but you could still make like I'm saying like there's a chance they can be like 3rd, 4th. Like I'm just saying like in my prediction they're probably going to be 6. And then 7, I'm going to put the Devils. Obviously, like their team actually got a lot better. Mackenzie Blackwood's gonna have a really good season. They got Thomas Starr and they got Dougie Hamilton too,
Yep.
right? So they're gonna be a really good team. And then Blue Jackets, I don't have to explain, they suck. Whatever.
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah. Metro's like this next division too. Atlantic. Like,
Oh my god, yeah.
the East
And
is just a tough.
exactly.
one
And
to-
who's gonna
to-
make the
to-
wild card? Like you can like
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the wild card's gonna be dominated by the Metro teams. But
mhm.
like, I'll break it down. Like Atlantic, arguably maybe the toughest division in hockey. Just the you know, 5 teams in there who are trying to fight for playoff spots. It's kind of like the Metro. So the East is just, you know, tough place to play to make the playoffs. So Atlantic, in my opinion, number 1, it's got to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. Sure, they lost
Yeah.
some. Or no, you go ahead. Yeah, you go.
You want me to go? Yeah.
You break it down. I'll break down. Yeah, after.
Okay. So I'll because I feel like I went a little slow before, so I'll go a little quickly on this one. But number 1, I have Tampa. Obviously 2-time back-to-back champions. They really don't have any flaws in this team. Now they have Kucherov back for the season too. They just don't have any. There's no flaws in this team. Like you cannot point to like one part of the game and be like, obviously they lost Yanni Gord, obviously a tough loss, but they've lost really good players before. They lost JT Miller. You know, like they've lost players before and they just keep getting players back. And like this is such a good team defensively, offensively. The goaltenders, there's no issue. And even if there's like a huge injury, this team's still gonna make the playoffs. You know, like they've shown it, like Stamkos, Kucherov, like they're still gonna make the playoffs. They're a really good team. Number 2, it's gonna be tough to put them there just because it is a team that they struggle under pressure. Let's be honest. The Toronto Maple Leafs. But in the regular season, there's 82 games to play, right? But so they're gonna win, right? Because there's a good team. So especially with Peter Mrazek and Jack Campbell and Nets, they're gonna be good. But the only thing with Toronto Maple Leafs is they gotta figure out like mentally how this team, like you can't keep losing like in the playoffs in the first round every time. Like there's a wall mentally they just got hit. I'm excited to see if they're gonna be able to like pass that this season, right? So I feel like what if they get past the first round, they're set. Like they just gotta get past that first round, you know. So, but in terms of rankings, they're gonna be pretty much guaranteed in the playoffs. Third, I have the Boston Bruins. Not much to explain. They're gonna be a good team. Who do they got? Allmark in net? Is that their goalie now?
Allmark, yeah.
Linus Allmark,
goaltender.
who's a really good goalie. Obviously, he played in Buffalo. They sucked, but Allmark has been consistently. He is a good goalie. Their team overall, I think McAvoy is going to take a huge step this season. He already took a pretty decent step. Like McAvoy is a really good defender. Like he definitely is like top 5, top 10. Like he's a really reliable defender. And overall, the team in general, especially with that first line, they're just going to be overall really good. And very excited to see this team play. At 4th is where it gets a little tough. I just don't know if Montreal is going to be like it. Like I don't know, especially obviously Carey Price says he's going to take a bit of time off, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm happy that he did that. He's going to take a bit of time off, but what's that going to do? Like this team without Carey Price isn't much, right? Jake Allen is a very good backup goalie, but like especially like last
you can
year,
make an argument Jake Allen outplayed Carey Price.
But
for most part of the season last year.
Yeah, but he like obviously Carey Price played way more than Jake Allen, so there's a bigger sample size.
Yeah,
it's just last year Montreal barely made the playoffs. Like if this was a regular season, they would have not made the playoffs, right? So it's just tough to put them at 4 there when you have a team like the Florida Panthers who are absolutely stacked and who I'm trying to think like they just got like so like they're gonna have
Florida.
Spencer Knight. Yeah, they're gonna have Spencer Knight and Bobrovsky and
Sam Reinhart.
Oh yeah,
Joe
that's who they got.
Thornton.
Sam Reinhart, they got like they locked up Anthony Duclair. Like
Joe Thornton.
I don't know,
Sam
Joe
Bennett
Thornton.
they locked up.
Exactly. Sam Bennett, who had a really good season for them. And obviously Aaron Ekblad. Last year he took a little step up offensively because he's been consistently like 40 points, whatever. But last year he got like 11 goals in like 30 games or something. So I'm excited to see that team play. I'm gonna put Montreal 4. I still believe that finals run. That's not a fluke. You just don't go to the finals as a fluke. You know, it's not. You just, like so. I'm gonna have them there. at 4, and then I'm gonna have Florida at 5. But I can see, like, to me, it's pretty interchangeable.
Yep.
I have it's pretty biased, but I have Red Wings at 6. I know we lost Jacob Verana for a good amount of the season,
Yep.
but I find like Alex Nedeljkovic, having him is going to be a huge plus for this team, and I'm just excited to see what this team can do. And then I have Buffalo and Senators interchangeable 7-8. The bottom 3 is pretty tough for the Atlantic, but it's just the top 5. The top 5, like the top 5 is like that's a good top 5.
Well, for sure. Yeah. For me, my bottom 3 is pretty much the same, but my top 5 a little bit different. Number 1, like you, I have Tampa. Like you said, lost some pieces, but their stardom power is still going to be able to push them into playoffs, even win them this division. They lost some key guys like Yanni Gourde. They lost Barclay Goudreau. They lost all these depth key pieces.
Even Cedric plus Paquette.
Yeah, a little.
Whatever.
But I don't even know if he really played that much. But Tampa is first for me. Now this is where it gets interesting. For me, second, I put Florida. I put the Panthers second.
You put Panthers second. Okay.
But listen, last year the Panthers won their division. I forgot what division that was, but it was with Tampa in it. They won it. They had a great season. Joe Quenneville could win the Jack Adams Award this season if Florida has a good. This is a team. Huberdeau, Barkov just got re-signed.
Exactly.
Duclair looks like he took another step with his team last year. Could he do that this year? Sam Bennett looked really good on the Florida Panthers. Aaron Ekblad will be back. Mackenzie Weegar could take another step. Spencer Knight and Bobrovsky splitting games. Who knows about Bobrovsky? Who knows about even Spencer Knight? The guy's a rookie, for God's sakes. But they won their division for a reason. I think Joe Quenneville has them on the right track right now, it seems like. So I don't expect that team to miss the playoffs. There's just too many good players on that team.
I know.
Right now. So I have Florida second. I really think they've taken steps over teams like Boston, who last year struggled at times in their division. But Boston's still a good, really good team. Lost Tuukka Rask. They're not going to re-sign him. Going Linus Ullmark, who actually had really pretty good numbers in Buffalo. You have to remember he was playing in Buffalo. So they'll be fine goaltender. Wise, Taylor Hall, they re-signed. Who else did the Sabres get? Not the Sabres, sorry. They lost David Krejci. It's actually going to play overseas, which is a bit, I was surprised to hear about that. But, that's going to be kind of a hole at their second line center for sure. But they're still good enough to win without him. Now with Taylor Hall on that team, Carlo got re-signed, Mike Riley, Derek Forbert they added from the Jets, who was playing a lot of minutes in Winnipeg. Now it won't have to be asked to play that amount, but reliable defenseman Nick Foligno's coming in. Eric Hall I really like. So they've added some pieces where it will keep them in the playoff hunt, especially with Pastrnak, Marchand, Bergeron on that line and stuff like that. Taylor Hall now, he's a really good player. He played really well with them. So they're still going to be a playoff team in my opinion. So I have them third. Fourth, I have Toronto, I guess. Even though Toronto I don't find is a good team. Like Toronto's they're going to run into the same problem again. Sure, they could be a good regular season team.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about right now. Yeah.
Teams are taking teams are hitting everyone every match. Like in the playoffs, they'll let Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews skate around, do their thing and score goals. But once the playoffs comes around, that's going to be close shut. And they're going to run into the same problem. Like that core, they're banking on it again. They're doubling down, not doubling down. They're like tripling down now or quadrupling down with this core now that they think can win with John Tavares and stuff like that. So, they'll be a good regular season team, and it sucks that they're the Atlantic with the Habs, but they should make the playoffs. Like if they don't make the playoffs, that'd be terrible and amazing at the same time for Habs fans. So Toronto fourth and Montreal fifth. Like Montreal, they're gonna have a tough start to the season with Carey Price, Mike Hoffman's out. Shea Weber's missing the season, so David Savard's now gonna have to step up big time. Not like he was playing in Tampa, even more now. Playing top 4 minutes, literally on the first, defensive line unit. So there's a lot of question marks around this team. Like you said, last year in the North Division, barely made the playoffs, and those teams are nothing like the teams they're gonna have to play now. The Canadian teams, Calgary, Vancouver, that's who they were going up against. And now the Senators too, which Montreal for some reason they don't like playing the Senators. They suck against the Senators. Are going to take valuable wins now away from the Montreal Canadiens. So and then if you're going to play down against your competition, this is the worst division to do it in because there's no time to play down against there's no time to lose.
Exactly.
You can't lose 2 to the Red Wings. You can't lose 3 out of 4 to the freaking Senators, or you can't split against the Sabres. You got to win these games. You got to win at least 3 games against these guys, if you want to have a chance. So like I said, Montreal, they're not going to make the top 3. They're going to be fighting for a playoff wild card spot, in my opinion. It's going to be tough because they're going to be competing with a team in the Atlantic and other teams from the Metro. Exactly. So, Montreal, it's going to be one of those very, fairy tale storybook.
Exactly, but we know if Montreal squeezes into the playoffs,
it doesn't. They need to get in. They just need to get in.
Once they get in the playoffs, it doesn't matter about the rank.
It doesn't matter about the rank. They need to get into the playoffs. They showed that last year. They just need to get in, but it's going to be tough, especially in the Atlantic. So then 6, 7, 8, Senators, Red Wings, Sabres. Sabres suck. They're trading away. Everyone trading Eichel away. Red Wings suck. They'll be better than the Sabres of Delkovich, like you said, but still rebuilding team. Senators, young rebuilding team, but not good enough to compete with the top 5. Maybe Montreal, maybe. But no, they're going to not. The point differential will be like maybe 15, 10, 13 between Montreal and Ottawa, which is like kind of ridiculous. Should be more, but that's what I think it will be. Or like 10. And then, that's it. That's our predictions for the NHL. Exactly. So Montreal, as a Habs fan, it's kind of weird to have them outside, but I got to be realistic. And the top 3 is just Montreal's not better than those teams.
I'm surprised that you didn't have Montreal in the
top 3.
No, but because 5, they're not in the playoffs. 100% they're not in the. If they're at 5, they're not in the playoffs.
No, probably not. That's why it's like one of these teams, Tampa, Florida, Boston, Toronto, from Montreal to make the playoffs. They're gonna have to be better than one of those teams. And which team is it gonna be? Is it gonna be the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have been having 15-point leads on you every season because they're just a good regular season team? Is it gonna be Boston, who you struggle with? Is it gonna be Florida, who had a great So Montreal just has even this division's really, really good. They just got to keep winning games, and if it's 4 and 5 from the Atlantic in the wild card spots, then it's 4 and 5. If Montreal outperforms all the other Metro teams, then that's that. There's still a way for them to make the playoffs. Just hard,
exactly,
and it's difficult because, like I said, that Metro division looks even tougher or just as tough. So there's a lot of good teams there, and you got to compete against them all season too, not just the Atlantic. You got to compete against the Metro teams too now.
Yeah.
So you can't take those games lightly either. Well, that has been our predictions for the NHL season, which will be going October 12th. So the season will be taken off. We'll have a bunch of things to talk about when that goes underway. Next week's episode, October.
We're talking about basketball. Do you want to talk about basketball?
Yeah, when's the UFC 267? That's later on, October 30th or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So that was So basketball. I think next week will be the basketball standing predictions because the NBA season starts shortly after the NHL season. So that's why we gave a week off or a week later to do that one. So we'll be doing basketball. Eric, you'll be giving us a bunch of info on that. Or I'll be doing my standings too, but you'll have more to say. So stay tuned for that. So thanks again. Thanks for listening to the Chtib Zhang show.
You forgot about one thing. The Jack Eichel.
Oh,
I know we had Sabres last. You didn't really talk about Jack Eichel. I was waiting for you to mention.
Sabres are last. Jack Eichel won't be playing the games for the Sabres. He's getting traded. We don't know if Jack Eichel's gonna start the season. It doesn't look like he will because first he has to get traded. He's not having surgery yet away. He's got to get traded and then have the surgery. So Jack Eichel will for sure miss the start of the season. Who knows how much longer? And who knows when he's going to get traded? I'll put it out, like you said. Thanks for reminding me every week. Where's Jack Eichel going to be? Who knows? Get it done, Sabres. Get it done. This is getting embarrassing, and just get it done. Just trade the guy. He's not going to play for you. There's teams out there
and fantasy owners want to know too. So
fantasy owners want to know too, and we drafted our fantasy teams, Eric, as well. So maybe next week we
might talk about it.
We might talk about our fantasy teams because we didn't have enough time to this episode, but we got to end the episode. So thanks for listening to the Chtib Zhang show on Spotify and YouTube. We'll see you guys in episode 42. where we talk NBA standards. We'll see you next week. Roll the outro.